Zambia Blog Talk Radio.
Good morning, good afternoon, wherever you're watching us from. Happy Saturday. My name is Muhambi Musanda, and I'm host here at Conversations with Muhambi. We're so glad to see you wherever you are watching us from, and we're very grateful that you have come to spend your Saturday in conversation with us today. I have a very exciting guest today. Chanda Chileshe is our guest. He is a green entrepreneur, and we talk about climate sustainability and climate change. We know that climate change is affecting countries across the world, but specifically in developing nations, we know that climate change is a major problem. Chanda is a climate change advocate and founder of Net Zero Innovations, a grassroots startup focusing on transforming agricultural waste and circular bioenergy solutions. He is also a mentee at the Institute for Global Negotiation, where he is deepening his experience in climate diplomacy and global engagement. He is committed to disrupting Zambia's energy landscape by empowering communities with climate smart alternatives. Let's welcome Chanda Chileshe to our show. Chanda, how are you?
I'm very fine, thank you, Mohambi. How are you?
I'm doing great. Thank you so much for spending your weekend with us, for spending the time together. I'm very excited to have you, and I can't wait for us to engage in a constructive conversation. So, my first question is, what inspired your journey into green entrepreneurship and climate advocacy in Zambia? So, just tell us where you're from, who are you, what inspired your journey into this arena.
First of all, thank you once again, Mohambi, for being part of this show. It's really an honor, actually, to be part of this program. And thank you also for everyone who's also joining us, because I'm sure we're live right now. And so, my journey into green entrepreneurship, well, really stems back a long way from growing up to actually getting into this part. And so, starting from my early childhood, growing up, I have been brought up in a family where entrepreneurship was encouraged from an early stage. And so I was born in Kabwe, to be specific, the heart of Zambia. And then later on, I moved to Lusaka, where my dad got to transfer, and so we had to move along with the family. And so, being there, fast forward, I moved and actually went to school in Chipata, where I did my secondary school. And being there, I was privileged to be actually the top library captain. And so at a very early age, I got exposed to books. I got exposed to the intricacies of the real world. And so I started to develop this interest. And also, the other thing that increased the interest is my mom being a teacher. She always encouraged me and told me about the importance of reading,
Mm.
and time and again they would look like they're forcing you to read, but it's actually
Yes.
beneficial to you. And so without knowing, I actually developed this habit of reading. And once I stumbled upon a quote that read to say, um, one might be limited to an environment, but if he's exposed to books, he can travel literally the entire world, because when we read, we actually interact with different minds and we borrow their ideas and make them our own. And so, coming into my background in university, where I was studying public administration, and now I'm really excited that I'll be graduating in October, just in a few months now. And so it's really nice. And from there, I actually got exposed coming to Lusaka. We moved on to a farm where we got exposed to how to take care of pigs, how to take care of chickens. And so the interest for entrepreneurship kept on growing. And now I found um, what I think I love to do, which
Mm.
is actually entrepreneurship and sustainable development, to be specific. And so I actually find an intersection of entrepreneurship and sustainable development. And through the help of my mentors, it led me to be a green entrepreneur. A green entrepreneur, um, others might say or call it a social entrepreneur.
Mm.
An entrepreneur who's not only motivated by the profits, but someone who is motivated by the social and the environmental well-being of the people. And so this desire to actually help the people and protect the environment, and having to firsthand experience the effects that we Zambians face, the load shedding, the malaria,
Mm.
the the droughts which affect our food baskets, the high cost of living. And so instead of just being someone who is talking about these things and blaming the government, as we as most of our youths do,
Yeah.
I thought, why not be part of the solution and actually take charge and reduce the effects of deforestation, climate change, and improve the indoor air pollution for the rural homes and initially everyone here in Zambia. And so this is what led me, and I'm still on a journey because I'm just beginning.
Yes.
This is just the early stages of my journey, and so this is what has led me here so far. And I know I still have a long way to go with God's grace.
Yeah.
So I don't know if that
No, I
answers your.
think that's a fantastic, I think, explanation of your story. You talked about how your mother sort of imprinted in you a love of reading. I also like to read. I can tell you like to read by your library in the background. I think there is a certain joy that you find in reading because reading opens up the pathways of your mind, and I think that a freed mind and educated mind is a dangerous person because they're equipped with knowledge. So I really liked how you talked about the importance of that, that foundation, how sort of reading and how you opened up a book and you saw a quote and how that quote changed your mind. I really think people underestimate, particularly people our age, really underestimate the power of reading. You talked about your background in public administration. How has your background, your studies in public administration, influenced your work in sustainable development?
Well, my background in public administration, we talk about policy issues. And so, with this background, it's opened my mind to understand how policies at national level should be implemented at the lower level. And so, we're talking about how policies like the NDCs, the green growth strategies should be implemented at the local level, the lower level, and not just be words that should be said as a form of maybe said in a symbolic way, but not actually being implemented on the ground.
Mm.
And so we see many of our leaders making all these promises to say they will do this and they will do that, but and they make and come up with all these good policies. But when we come and see what is on the ground, we actually see it's actually different from what is there. And so my background in public administration has helped me understand how to actually implement solutions at ground level. It's how helped me to understand how to engage with stakeholders, how to engage with the community, and how to ensure that there is high community participation even as we interact with the community, as we talk to each and every household. Yes, I think that's how I have how my experience in public administration has actually helped me so far. But I
Mm.
think it's still going.
Mm. Excellent, excellent. I'm curious to see or for you to speak about how you said you're also like me in school and college. I'm curious to see how your college years or some of the coursework that you've done, whether in the classroom or outside of the classroom, how that has informed the work that you're doing. Because I think one of the good things about being in school, especially in higher education, is you get empirical, knowledge you learn in the classroom, but you also get to supplement that by experiential learning. So I'm curious how you've been able to use both your classroom experience and sort of experiential learning, uh, being able to pursue the work that you're doing.
Um, how I've actually experienced is that I am also um, a mentee at the Institute of Global Negotiations. So it is there that it has also improved my capacity on how I can better relate with people on different policy issues. And coming to the the ground. How I actually practically got involved is through our association in school, the Public Administration Association. Through this association, we were exposed to different places like the parliament and other places where we're able to interact with policymakers and see what really happens in the real world and not just learn it from a theoretical perspective.
Amazing, amazing. I think that that's important. As I said before, when you're engaging in that sort of public service work, or really, climate sustainability, public administration, it requires, as I said before, one of the, I think what most students in university, what we don't really utilize is that sort of experiential learning part, actually going out and sort of practicing what we want to do, because I think it also informs what we learn in the classroom. So I liked how you talked about you're being able to go out and you're able to work with public officials who really, I think, need to understand how important this issue is. So tell me why sort of young people should care about climate diplomacy or sustainable development. Because I think a lot of young people our age don't really, think that that's important, or really don't have an understanding of the threat of climate change.
Yes, so it first starts with the understanding of what one wants to do and what uh, one really wants to achieve. And so, coming to the field of uh, climate change, yes, it is true that most of our young people are actually found in places where things that are actually not constructive are
Mm-hmm.
found, usually, most of the times. And so, in our country, we find that there is a lack of meaningful youth engagement,
Yeah.
if I put it that way. Because, yes, in as much as we are youth, we are supposed to enjoy our youth and do all these things that bring us joy. We are also supposed to have meaningful youth engagement while we talk about the climate issue, because the climate issue affects literally each and every one of us,
Yeah.
from our businesses to our homes. And so it's not something that we can just ignore. And we have to take up a collective action where we come together as youth and actually um, fight these challenges together. And so I think we should encourage more youth. And as a climate advocate, I'm advocating for meaningful youth engagement so that more youth actually advocate for things that are affecting them, because these are not just statistics,
Yeah.
they're things that we are actually experiencing here. If I'm
You
not
talked
mistaken,
about
Mohammed, we our last conversation was actually in the place where there was no electricity. And
yes,
so
yes, yep,
these
I
these
remember.
these are not just things from without, the things that are happening here on the ground.
Yes.
Yes.
You talked about meaningful youth impact, and you were able to attend, well, we connected the World Bank Youth Summit, but you attended from the virtual side. Talk about that experience. How did you enjoy it? What were your takeaways, and what did you learn from it?
From the World Bank Youth Summit, the the the, the whole theme was to make a livable planet. And so, as youth, we should be actually, I'm encouraging youth to be actually found in spaces like this, because it is only when we find ourselves in such kind of spaces that we are able to find opportunities, and we are able to actually contribute and have that meaningful youth engagement. And so, from that summit, we mostly the focus was on what I mostly took away was how we as youth should collaborate more on not only the international forum, but even from the countries that we come from. And so it must start with home, where we come from, before we even go to the global stage to collaborate with other people. And
Yes.
so we must start here where we are, Mohambi, and then later on we can see these other places. I don't know if that answers your question, Mohambi.
No, I think that answers my question. So what other venues have you had within Zambia to have meaningful impact? I'm not sure if we have pictures from your outing. If we can't put them up now, we can put them up in the later segment. But what other where have you had other sort of areas of impact within Zambia, within Lusaka, or within the other provinces?
Um, Within Zambia, specifically Kafue district, in a community known as Shantumbu. I don't know if you've heard of it,
Yes.
but it is within this community that I volunteer with women's organization because I believe that as humans we are stewards of the earth, and we should actually offer our services to people. And so I strongly believe in servant leadership and being a servant for the people. And so through my volunteer work within Shantumbu, we've had different interactions where we educate women on different issues to do with climate change, on issues to do with entrepreneurship, on issues to do with how they can implement smart climate skills in their agricultural practices. And so we educate them on how they can actually have better yields for their crops through their soil, through their fertilizers. And so we help the communities and teach them how to farm sustainably within the Shantumbu community. Because the previous year they recorded devastating um, fields that were destroyed. And so the records were very terrible. And if you go and check now, you will find them that the area really recorded poor rainfall, which affected their harvests. And so it was an initiative through that organization that helped them to actually improve and find better methods of actually dealing with the climate change.
Excellent, excellent. I want to segue now to net zero, your initiative. So can you tell us a little bit about the founding of net zero and what gaps? I think you already talked about it, but what gaps you're trying to fill in with your initiative?
So, to start with, net zero came about because I actually had to go through the community and actually experience the high levels of deforestation that were actually going on within Shantumbu. And because of the energy crisis that we talked about earlier, it led actually a lot of people to start cutting down trees because of the unreliable electricity that we have. We are having long hours of load shedding, 8 hours, in some cases 12 hours. Other places they would go for days without electricity. And this also increased now the demand for charcoal. And so you would see them all over the place with bags of charcoal, all over the place, cutting down trees. And so after noticing this, a few months I was shocked by the president's announcement. Dr. Hakainde Hichilema, our president, last year he announced that we would have a climate emergency. And so this emergency is the one that led me actually to take action to say I shouldn't just be part of the people complaining about the effects of climate change, but actually take action.
Mm,
And so, me, together with a team of other four individuals, founded Net Zero Innovations as a grassroots clean startup that is trying to replace charcoal here in Zambia with an alternative that burns longer, it lasts longer, and it actually saves on the cooking costs. And so it's actually a benefit to a lot of households.
yeah.
It saves you from the indoor air pollution that people face when turning on their braziers. There's all that dust that one has. And so it has all these benefits that it comes with it. And not only that, um, at Net Zero, we are actually working on other clean energy initiatives like syngas, which is also a clean cooking gas that is made from agricultural waste. And so, as we scale, we intend on venturing into syngas, which will be an alternative also for the LPG gas, which is imported here in Zambia. And so, we are looking into the research and development of this syngas as another way also to reduce the reliance on these toxic and harmful fuels.
Mm.
But at
Um,
our core, net zero focuses on women and youth. And so in our production, in our value chain, there are women and youth involved from the start to the finish. And so even in our distribution channels, women are are going to be involved in our distribution channel. So currently, we're actually working on how we can integrate the women's cooperatives within Shantumbu and encourage them to actually come on board and be part of our trained agents to distribute this eco-friendly fuel, and also training programs on climate change, and other financial literacy programs to improve their literacy levels and their income brackets, and also improve their livelihoods.
I,
I
I, I
think,
I like what you're trying to work on, because it's not just about climate sustainability. It's not just focused on climate sustainability, but it's also focused on financial and economic empowerment. And so my next question is, and I think you answered a little bit, but I'd like for you to sort of, delve into it more. Um, how do these solutions promote economic empowerment at at the grassroots level?
okay, so the first way in which um, our community is empowered is through the sourcing of the raw materials. We use agricultural waste to make our eco-friendly fuel blocks. And so nearby farmers who are community members sell these agricultural waste to us. And these are things that usually and often they just burn in the open air and wait for the next season. They are just thrown away as waste. But now our community is able to earn a little money from selling these agricultural waste. And so we're talking about somewhere in the range of 300 to 500 kwacha as an income from the waste that they will be selling to us. And so not only that, but also as our women are trained as agents based on commission and other promotional packages, they will be able to earn something. And by doing so, we are providing green jobs to our communities, women and youth. And so by them selling these clean fuel blocks, they are actually creating a movement and awareness about the effects of climate change, and also bringing about the economic benefits, while they benefit from the commissions and the salaries that they earn. And also during the production process, when making these briquettes, youth are involved in making them. And so it is a youthful workforce that makes these fuel blocks. And through this workforce, they are able to actually earn income. And as I earlier mentioned, we're creating more jobs for the community by doing so. I don't know if that answers how the community benefits
Yes,
economically and how
it does. How has the community received the work you're doing, and have you received any attention from local leaders?
the community has actually received it with open arms, for the fact that I have been present even before I started this project. I have been present within the community, and I have been interacting with different community leaders with Action for Women Development, the organization within Shantumbu. And so through my interactions, it has allowed for the community to actually accept this as a solution, and not just accept it, but we have given out some samples to different community members. And so some restaurants actually have agreed time and again that indeed these eco-friendly fuel blocks last longer than charcoal. Indeed, these fuel blocks do not produce as much smoke as charcoal does. Indeed, these fuel blocks are actually saving them in terms of costs. And so if it's benefiting their business, they are really welcome to actually purchase more and actually have the interest to keep on using these products.
Excellent, 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 excellent. We're going to take a break. We've had such a fantastic conversation, and so we're going to take a break, and we're going to get more from our dear brother, Mr. Chanda Chileshe.
Thank you very much, Muhambi.
Hello, Zambian diaspora businesses. Do you want to connect with your community back home, right on ZBTR TV? I'm here from VibeForge AI Studios, Tilfeus, where we're crafting faith-fused media with AI magic. From AI music video production to powerful AI image creation and even music composition. We've got everything you need to make your advertising truly resonate on ZBTR TV. If you're ready to make an impact, let's create something extraordinary together. Your vision, AI powered. Connect with VibeForge AI Studios today.
So we have a very, very, very exciting promotional. Dr. Nevas Mumba, who was on the show, I believe it was the first Saturday in July, has released a book, and his book is entitled "In Pursuit of Freedom." If you did not watch the episode, you can go back on YouTube and you can watch it. Dr. Nevas Mumba is um, has played an integral part in Zambia's political history. I don't think that Zambia's history can be written without the contributions of Dr. Neves Mumba, whether it was his evangelical ministry that really transformed how we receive the Word of God through communications, or his political career, which has been consequential, regardless of what you think of him. It is inconceivable for Zambia not to be the history of Zambia not to be written without the chapters, the contributions of Dr. Neves Mumba. So if you're interested in getting a book, if you want to read over the summer, or if you just want to know more, this is not just a book about politics. This is a book about a major figure in our country's history. You can go to inpursuitoffreedom.com, and you can purchase the book, get it for your friends, your family, read it for yourself. This is a fantastic book written by a fantastic man who has played a role in Zambia's history. So we are back from our break, and we're very excited to have our guest, Mr. Chanda Chileshe. I'm wondering if we have the videos, if we have images from his recent outings. I'm not sure if we have them on on. Oh, there it is. All right, Chanda. So tell us the background. What was happening here? You look like you were doing something.
Yes, so this was actually the very first machine that we made for our community to actually test our briquettes, to actually see if what we are talking about is actually practical and we could actually achieve what we are talking about. And so we had our struggles finding the materials and everything. It was really a challenge, but I really say it's God's grace, because we actually managed to do it and we tasted it, and it actually performed better than I expected. And so this is really something that I think I will look at even as time goes on, as actually one of the first things that we did as a team for the community, and it's really, really nice, honestly.
Wonderful. Let's see. Let's see our next one. All right. Oh, there it is. So tell us this story.
This is our visit to Chibwalo area. It's one of the communities in Kafiwe district, just a few kilometers away from Shantumbu. Further in, we find this community where we were interacting with the women. We were listening mostly to the challenges that they were facing within the community, and together coming up with solutions that can help them and better improve their livelihoods. And so this is where I actually had the privilege of speaking about climate entrepreneurship and climate skills that might help women and youth become independent and empowered within their community and improve their livelihoods ultimately.
Wow. Let's see. All right. Do we have another one? No, we don't have another one. Okay, well that's okay. Well, we saw you sending off. We got to see you at the side. We could see you standing on the left hand corner. So this is just wonderful, and thank you again for contributing these pictures. I think it's important for us to see that the work you're doing here. We have some of our commenters. Brother Greenwell is watching. Thank you so much, my brother. Great topic by Miss Emma Jones. Thank you so much. And Mr. James Musanda says, great stuff. Thank you so much. Great stuff. Great stuff. Climate change is not real. Well, how would you respond to that, Chanda? Mr. Dante says that climate change is not real.
Climate change is real, Mr. Dante, and the thing is that it respects no borders. There's nothing that you're in Zambia, you're in the UK. All of us experience climate change. It's only that we experience it at different levels. And maybe us developing countries are actually on the slower part when it comes to the response. But climate change is real. If only you would be able to share with me where Mr. Dante is coming from, I would speak directly to the problems that are affecting his part of the country so that he actually understands what we are talking about. So that these things are not distant from us. These are actually real things happening.
Wow, Mr. Dante, I think if you're still watching, we definitely want to hear your assertions on why you do not believe in climate change. So, if you've been watching, wherever you've been watching from, I hope maybe this conversation changes your perspective and maybe you're inclined to listen to experts like this, my brother over here. Um, let's go to the next facet of our conversation. We've been having a fantastic conversation. Again, I want to thank you for taking time out of your weekend to spend it here with us. So you are currently a mentee at the of Global Negotiation. Tell me a little bit about what that is and how it has shaped your experience in understanding what climate diplomacy is.
The Institute of Global Negotiations is a non-governmental organization based in Switzerland, Zurich, and this organization impacts and is part of the negotiation processes and contributes in the UN FCC negotiation, and they also take part during COPs, and so they teach youth and motivate youth and empower youth to actually take climate action. And so through this institute, I've actually learned a lot in terms of climate diplomacy. I have learned about the national determined contributions. I've learned about carbon credits. I've learned about different aspects of negotiation, and not only the theoretical part of it, but also having to have practical breakout sessions where we have one-on-one simulations of actual international negotiations. And so being privileged to be taught by doctors and people who have actually been part of UN negotiation processes, it was really a privilege to actually learn a lot. And not only do we learn from the theoretical part, but as Net Zero Innovations, we're actually in partnership with the Institute for Global Negotiations. And so
Wow.
we have learned about practical climate action that we must implement in our communities, like what we are trying to do now at Net Zero Innovations to implement clean energy solutions. And so it is through these discussions that we've been exposed to how we can best find homegrown solutions that work and empower our community. Don't know if that's
Yeah,
tackles.
it does. I have a question. I think that aligns with this. I think over the past, I'd say over maybe the past decade, we've seen a lot of countries across the world, really, I think, take um, steps toward addressing climate change. But why do you think some countries are still hesitant on sort of embracing climate diplomacy?
Um, I think maybe it's because of the global policies also uh, affect how we take a stance on the climate change. For instance, just I think a year ago, when we had when you had the new president of America, you would see how he distanced himself from the Paris Agreement and all the commitments to do with climate change. And so this also affects how us as developing countries who look up to these developed countries should take up that climate action. And so others who pick that as an example and follow suit with that um, idea. And also, it's because for developing countries to switch to actually climate solutions, it's actually on the higher side for them. Becomes expensive, becomes costly. And so, only if we have these uh, countries come in and support climate initiatives, I think it's much more easier for developing countries also to follow suit and also assimilate those innate ideas and make them their own and homegrown in their countries.
My next question is, in what ways can local entrepreneurs like yourself influence the policy surrounding global or climate change, climate policy? How can you influence climate policy, you and sort of local influencers or local entrepreneurs, rather?
I think it is high time that as young entrepreneurs and as youth, we should not just be beneficiaries of the solutions that are being made, but we should actually be part and parcel as decision makers. We should be at the table where these decisions are being made and not just here to say we they have told us. We must be present in those rooms. And so it is now that we are seeing that there is a lot of encouragement of youth engagement. We are seeing there is encourage that we see there encouraging more youth to participate um, in decision making. They are encouraging more youth to actually take part in these decisions that are being made. And it can bring it here in my home country, Zambia. I see how our president is actually there at the forefront, encouraging youth engagement through the youth indaba,
Yeah.
through various youth policies like the one that is ongoing where they are encouraging that youth should be actually be part of the parliament. And so it is through things like this that we are able to see that actually youth need to stand up and be part of parcel in where these decisions are being made and not just be spectators of the decisions that are being made. And so youth should take interest in conferences like the COP. Youth should take interest in conferences like the already um, mentioned the World Bank Youth Summit. And so it is when we find ourselves in these places that we are able to actually contribute and take part in the decisions that are being made.
I like that answer. It seems like your namesake here has a comment. Great work there. People need to be enlightened, and action must be taken to overcome climate
Definitely.
challenges. Excellent question. Excellent response. Great job. A good job. I think that's to you. Manga says, Chanda, you're absolutely right. It's important for us to be involved in the decision making process. I like what you said that youth should not be spectators, but rather there's a quote by Theodore Roosevelt, who was president. He said that you should be in the arena. So there's only so much you can do as a spectator. Why not be in the arena while you have the skill sets, you're passionate about these issues, and while you're young. I think life is too short, and you should make a meaningful impact. So instead of being like what you said, instead of being a spectator, why don't we go into the arena and make an impact? We may stumble, we may fall down, we may have a few losses, but I'd rather be in the arena than be a spectator. And I think that's the work that you're doing. Instead of being on the sidelines, you're actually on the court and you're playing the game. My next question is, do you see Zambia playing a stronger role in global climate forums? If so, what kind of leadership should we be offering to our partners on the global stage?
I think Zambia, yes, is going to be a leader in global climate forums because we have seen, even just from the Ministry of Green Economy, which was recently introduced. Previously, we never had such a ministry here in Zambia. And so it is through initiatives like those that are coming on board that are making Zambia's presence in the global stage become more visible now, because we are embracing the green growth strategy. We are embracing and understanding the effects of climate change because we have firsthand experienced it. We have firsthand experienced the effects of droughts here in Zambia. And so only if we want to go back to that experience, we will take action and influence and take part in global decisions and make decisions that will benefit Zambia and decisions that will benefit the youth, decisions that will benefit each and every citizen in the fight against climate change.
Fight against climate change. I think it's time for us, especially African nations, right, to really take a front role. Especially as you said before, we're seeing, here in America, you know, we're taking a backseat to climate change, and I think this offers an opportunity for us. Talking about us as members of the Zambian community and as Africans, for us to really take a front step and to be visible on the global stage. I'm curious about what your opinions on sort of Chinese investments in sort of green in climate diplomacy. Do you think it is out of their benevolence or out of their goodness toward the Zambian people, or do you think it's part of a sort of larger global strategy? In your opinion, as someone who sort of does work in climate diplomacy.
Well, I'll be honest with you, Mohambi, and for an investor to actually come and invest here, it means that there is something ultimately that they are looking out for to benefit. They cannot just come and do business here and invest and not get anything out in return. And
Mm,
so that could be a possibility that we it's part of China's global strategy to actually have more influence in African countries, as they have seen that the US is kind of a little bit backing away
yeah.
from this kind of a thing, and China has maybe seen it as an opportunity. But as Zambians too, we are not supposed to look at it as um, we're not supposed to paint it as a bad thing, because we initially benefit from these projects. Look at the 100 megawatt Chisamba solar plant. That was done very well, and we as Zambians are the main key beneficiaries of such huge projects.
Mm,
And they initially help us in our livelihoods. They actually reduce the dependence on the hydroelectric power, which is actually very good, because we are saying to say Zambia over the past years has been reliant on hydroelectric power, and we can see what is happening when we have droughts, because it's not something that has happened once, it's something that has happened even before the climate emergency we experienced with shedding. And
yeah.
so when these initiatives come in, we must look at it from the positive side and look at it from how can we benefit the most as Zambians from such projects.
I want to ask you this question, and it goes back to what we said at the beginning when you were talking about the importance of sort of youth getting involved in this kind of work. You had mentioned that it's not enough for us to blame the government, to really inject politics into this, because these issues have have existed long before our the current political party or the previous political party in power in Zambia. So how do we educate people in this energy crisis to look at it not from a political lens, but from a lens of sustainable development? Because blaming the government is, can only get you so far. If you really want to, if we really want to address this issue, this energy crisis in Zambia, we really have to look at the root causes. So how do we bridge that disconnect between, playing political games and really sort of connecting the real issue, which is an issue of sustainable development? How do we reach out to those people?
I think, first of all, um, we must bring about in awareness and mindset change,
Mm,
to shift the mindset of us Zambians to stop focusing on the political parties and to stop focusing on the short-term gains and focus on the long-term benefits of us as a country as a whole. And so we should not just look at we should encourage policies that not only focus on the 5-year tenure of a president, but focus on policies that will benefit the country in the long run, such that even when different ruling parties come in power, these policies are in place to allow a smooth running of the government and an efficient use of the resources, and bring back the money into our Zambian homes and Zambian pockets.
my next question is, and I thank you for answering that question, because I think that raising awareness about climate change is very important because climate change can be complex to understand. So if we break it down in ways that people can chew on it and really understand it, I think it will bridge this disconnect because these issues have long existed before the current political party, and they will exist after this political party leaves office. So I think if we can sort of articulate to the people why these issues matter, I think it will benefit our community members in the long haul. Chanda, you still with us? I think we're going to take another commercial break, and we will get back with him soon.
Hey Zambia, are you ready to kickstart your Saturdays with insightful conversations, unmissable guests, and all the trending topics you need to know? Then you have to tune into the ZBTR TV show. It's an electrifying show every single Saturday morning at 9 a.m. Central Standard Time. From current affairs to lifestyle, entertainment, and everything in between, we're your go-to source for vibrant discussions that matter to you. Mark your calendars. Every Saturday, 9 a.m. CST. Join the ZBTR TVS show live stream and be part of something amazing. And while you're at it, don't forget to subscribe to our channel. Most of our viewers are not subscribed, and we really want you to be part of our growing community. Also, give us a follow on our social media platforms to stay updated throughout the week.
All right, we're back. Thank you so much. No problem. It's okay. It's all good. It's I think that's how you know it's a good conversation, when the network begins to act up. So as we begin to wind up our conversation, I want to talk about sort of the challenges you've experienced and the vision that you have. So what have been some of the toughest challenges you have faced as an entrepreneur, as a green entrepreneur in Zambia?
As a green entrepreneur, one of the most challenge is lack of finances, basically. And so as entrepreneurs, mostly this is one of the issues that we face. And so the access to capital is in Zambia is very high. Even in the case of, if we say somebody is getting a loan, the interest rates are very high, that if you are to do the calculations, the returns, you will be killing yourself into debt, especially when one is starting.
Wow.
And so I think access to finances is one of the major challenge that most young entrepreneurs face. But this doesn't mean that finances are not available. Finances are available. And so only if one takes deliberate action, and I think somebody who is really searching and really wants to get something done, one way or another, they literally find their way to those finances, and they do achieve their project. Another thing I will mention is the lack of mentorship. And so as young entrepreneurs, we lack mentorship, because mentors, to some certain extent, they have been where we would love to be, and they have seen and experienced things that we might not yet have experienced. And so with their knowledge, they are able to actually catapult us to a certain extent, where we are able to actually create meaningful solutions that actually impact the community. And so I think mentorship is a really important thing. And so I would also encourage young entrepreneurs to seek mentorship. The last is, I think, that I cannot run away from is books.
Yeah.
I think we must read
We must
books.
read. We must
We
read.
must read books. Because I think there's a book for literally everything that you might talk about. Somebody
Exactly.
has written about it
Yep.
somewhere. And if you are searching, you will find it.
Yes.
In whatever
Yes.
field, be it engineering, be it science, be it art, you will find someone who's written something about it. And so, if you are deliberate to actually read books and seek this knowledge, you will be able to actually come, you will be able to actually face some of these common challenges that most of us young entrepreneurs face. And so I think those are the things I would recommend. But the last that I think we should take very seriously is God. I think even as we pursue whatever we are pursuing, even as we have all these goals that we want to achieve, I think putting God first at the center of everything that we do is key, because in times when we lack the confidence, in times when we lack the faith, He's there to strengthen us. He's there to keep us going forward. He's there
Yeah.
to encourage us through His word. And so I think as entrepreneurs, we should not forget God as part of our formula to succeed in whatever we are doing.
Yes. Yes. I like that. Yeah. He's a part of the formula for us to succeed. I think that's a fantastic way to, I think, conclude, is by understanding that God is the formula for our success. Before I end, you have a library behind you. What book are you reading, or what is your favorite book?
My favorite book is by Napoleon Hill, Think and Grow Rich.
Oh,
It's
yes, I know that one.
it's one of the books that I think I have read more than once, and the more I read it, the more I actually come to learn new things, the more I come to back to highlight more
Mm,
on things that I might have missed the first time and the second
first
time
time.
or third time I read it. And so I think it tops as one of my favorite books. And the current book I'm reading is Think is Africa Must Think by
Ah,
Dumisani
yes,
Limangangue.
great. Yes.
It's the current book that I'm reading, and I'm really learning a lot. And the title of the book is Time for Action. And
Mm,
so it's really given me those,
that boost.
those energy and that uh, motivation to say, now it's time for action
Yeah.
and not
Now it's
just,
time for action. Now,
yes.
before I let you go, I have just one more question. If you could give advice to a young person who wants to get involved, whether it's who wants to make a positive difference in their community, what would you share with them?
First, I would say if you want to make a positive difference in your community, you must understand what it is that you love to do, because there are many ways that we could make impacts in our community. It is not only through entrepreneurship, it might be through teaching, it might be through helping in the clinic, it might be in different ways. And so one must first understand what it is they love to do, what it is they want and enjoy to do, what impact that they intend to make. Because at a certain period or at a certain point, that motivation to keep going will phase out and it will stop. And only if truly you love what you're doing, or you at least enjoy what you're doing, if at least you don't yet love it, if you enjoy what you're doing, you will keep on going. And so first, one must be deliberate to find out what it is they love to do. And this is through their talents. They might experience different things through different experiences. Being exposed to different experiences, one is able to understand what it is that they like and they enjoy doing.
Mm. Mm. Yeah, yeah, yeah. I've enjoyed this conversation. So I want to thank you, Chanda, for
I've enjoyed it too,
just
Mohambi.
taking
It's
time. Thank
really a
you.
privilege to be
Thank you
here
so
with
much.
you.
Well, I'm very humbled, and I think we first of all we just want to congratulate you beforehand on your graduation. So we're very
Thank you
excited.
very much once again, Mohambi.
What's next for you? What's after? What are your post graduation plans?
The post-graduation plans are to disrupt the charcoal market. Like
All
I've already
right.
mentioned, net zero
Yeah, I like
innovation.
that.
And
I like that.
so,
Yeah.
and maybe we might get an opportunity to hop onto one of the COP conferences and maybe be part of the meaningful youth engagement and share local ideas in global spaces, God willingly.
Amen. And it shall be so. Amen. Amen. We're looking forward to seeing everything that you do. I want to thank you for again taking time out of your weekend to share your story with us. We have some commentators. Awesome. Keep it up. Yes. Awesome. Keep it up. We're just so happy and we're just so excited to see what God is doing in your life. So thank you so much. Thank you so
so
much.
much.
We appreciate it.
I appreciate it. And it was really an honor to be with you here today,
Thank you.
Mohambi. And to Pastor Nathan, it was really a privilege to be a part of this show. Might not be here, but I really appreciate for being here and contributing to this meaningful talk that we had, Mohambi. I hope
Yes.
in future we have more like this and to share. And don't forget, we also have our engagement when you come back to
Yes.
Zambia.
Yes. I'll
Right?
be sure. Yes.
We,
Yes. That's why platforms like this are important. Yes. Thank you so much. That's today's show. We're very humbled, excited. We thank Chanda for taking time out of again his schedule to talk to you. I hope that you were encouraged. I hope that you were enlightened by today's conversation. I know that I was. Again, I want to thank Pastor Nathan for this opportunity, and I'd like to thank all of our viewers wherever you're watching us from. Thank you for taking time out of your weekend to spend time with us. We look forward to seeing you next month, the month of August. We are excited for our guests. Every month, we're getting better, and it's because of people like Chanda, people who are committed to making a meaningful impact in our community, because life is short, but the time that we spend here making a meaningful impact will count. So thank you so much. May God bless you, and we look forward to seeing you next month. Thank you.
Hello, Zambian diaspora businesses. Do you want to connect with your community back home, right on ZBTR TV? I'm here from Vibeforge AI Studios, Tilfeus, where we're crafting faith-fused media with AI magic. From AI music video production to powerful AI image creation and even music composition. We've got everything you need to make your advertising truly resonate on ZBTR TV. If you're ready to make an impact, let's create something extraordinary together. Your vision, AI powered. Connect with VibeForge AI Studios today.
Zambia Blog Talk Radio.